Welcome back to my series of quick and easy letter projects and activities you can do with your preschoolers and toddlers. This week is all about the letter H. I was able to find this hay at my local craft store. Seemed like a fun one to feed a horse. This is clearly not my best drawing skills, but I did try to make a horse with its mouth open wide that we could feed this hay to. Should you want this printout, I have it on my blog for free. A couple of different sizes that I think will fit like a Pringles can or a peanut butter jar or like a mason jar. I would definitely recommend printing it out on cardstock. We did it on normal paper and it did tear after not so long. I gave my daughter some wooden tools and she went down feeding this horse and she had a great time with it. This one was great. Thought it would be fun to make a handy hat or headband. To start, grab a few pieces of colored paper and trace your child's hand as many times as you can on that piece of paper. Then stack it up with a few other pieces of colored paper under it so you can cut out lots of hands with one cut and cut those hands out so you have lots of different colored hands. If you have a preschooler who's good with scissors, they can cut out their own hands. For my 2-year-old, I did it for her. Once you've got a good pile of hands, go ahead and grab another piece of paper and cut it into a hat or headband style size for your child. Then you can tape or glue the ends together, and then let your kid go wild, taping or stapling or gluing all these hands around their headband. If you want to go even crazier, you could decorate the hands after, but we thought this was a really fun one and we loved how it turned out. Got this face printable. I have it on my blog, slicespoon.com, under the H section of the ABC Ideas tab. And I decided to try this one lots of ways. So step 1, just print this out, give your kids some markers, and let them draw the hair. Super easy, works for all ages. Don't have a printer, don't want to fuss with the printer? Just grab some colored paper, cut out your own face and head from that, glue it to another page. And you can add hair again with markers, or grab some yarn and take it up a notch. From here, I went a little bit crazy. I don't know if I recommend this one, but it might be good for long-term play. So here I have one of those like plastic cross-stitch cards and a plastic needle and lots of yarn. This one took me a long time, but I went through and I poked this yarn through the holes and made this long hair. I just glued the face on to be easy. This one was really fun for after. It was kind of like those head dolls, but like a cheap homemade version. My daughter could brush the hair, she could put clips in it. I could braid it, we could add bows and elastics. It was a fun tactile play piece, but it did take quite a bit of time to make. Like 15-20 minutes while I was watching a show, but like significantly longer than most of my projects. With that said, we've been playing with it for about a week now, and while we have had to retape the face a few times, the hair has stood up really good, and my daughter is too, so it's pretty sturdy and good. And last but not least, grab a piece of paper, cut it out about the size of the head, and just cut strips and let your kid work on their scissor skills, making their own haircut for this girl. I think you could use a pencil to make curls, or scissors to go wild making their own kind of haircut. This one was fun and we rinsed and repeated a few times. So here are the 4 different types. We are doing handprint art, and because it's close to Halloween, ours is Halloween themed, but there are so many different ideas on Pinterest that you can find that go with any holiday. I started out by just painting her palms orange so that we could make some fun jack-o'-lanterns. Then we grabbed some black. I did her palms and her fingerprints and we double tapped them to make some spiders. And finally, we did a whole handprint and a few of them upside down to make some cute ghosts. Then once they were dry, we grabbed some markers and we added details to these. I think with a preschooler, it would be fun for them to do their own details. My toddler was kind of tapped out at this point, so I just added them, and I think they turned out really cute. Again, we thought it would be fun to mix it up and do a healthy snack to go with letter H, so we are making some homemade granola bars today. I found this awesome base recipe on andyann.com, where pretty much you get a base recipe for granola bars, and then you can add whatever mix-ins you want. We decided to go with chocolate chip and blueberry for our mix-ins, and they both turned out fantastic. I think you should probably get the full recipe off of Andy Ann, so I'll link it in my blog post when I do this so you can go see it there. I'm sure if you just Google Andy Ann granola bars it would come up because I think it's a pretty popular Pinterest post. In any case, the recipe made like half a pan, like a large size cookie sheet, so we doubled it up with blueberry and they turned out amazing. These were delicious and we have been enjoying them all week. Here we did a couple of versions of hopscotch. And yes, my chalk is too light to see on camera, but it is there. After doing our best and learning to hop around a little bit, girlfriend did get a little bored and want to just color, which was fantastic. And after a few more rounds, we took it inside for another version using colored paper. Step 1, I just tossed them down on the floor to see what would happen, and they were a little too wiggly and loose. Have no fear, we grabbed some tape and everything was better. After taping them down, we hopped around on our homemade hopscotch, and eventually we moved the colored squares all around the house and played a game called Can You Get to the Colored Square? This one was a 5-second prep. My 2-year-old had a great time and my older kids had fun playing it too later. Here's another fun letter H project you can do with your preschooler or toddler. H is for hot air balloon. Okay, so in truth, I did this one with my 2-year-old, and I think that I was thinking more about the projects I've done with my 5-year-old because my 2-year-old was not that into this one, and I think it was too hard for her. But if you have crafty older kids, I still think this is a fun one. To start, we grabbed some different pieces of colored paper, a balloon, some yarn, and a toilet paper roll. I cut the toilet paper roll into about a basket size, and then we measured it on one of the colored papers and we cut out a bottom for it. Liquid glue definitely would have been a better way to go. Don't recommend a glue stick, but we made it work. After that, I cut some strips from colored paper and we cut tiny little, and when we were finished making the fringe, we glued it around the basket. Then I blew up the balloon and we cut out some yarn to tie the balloon to the basket. Afterward, we got out some permanent markers, which was maybe a dicey choice, but we did decorate the balloon on top. Again, I think my preschooler could have handled this. It was a little too advanced for my 2-year-old, but we still had fun. And here's our final design. We are rounding out our week of easy letter H play ideas with this letter H honeybee sensory bin. This honestly is one that I designed and I'm selling on Etsy, but I think it's really fun, and let me show you why. It has these foam honeycomb guides and this bee on some tweezers, some other friend bees, and lots of scoops and wooden pieces and toys, flowers, and lots of bits of pollen. And that's all good and fun, but this is where it gets interesting. I created this laminated honey recipe card, a wipe away marker, and you can go through and create a recipe just for your bees to collect with these honey pieces. If you want to work on those fine motor skills, grab that pincer bee and see if your child can follow along with this card and collect what you have written down, they have written down, or what their friends have written down. Also worked really hard and got bees that if you push them down on this pollen, it will stick to them. So these bees can collect lots of pollen in lots of ways. You don't even need the tweezers. You just take the bee pom-pom and you push it on the pollen and it just sticks. It's like a really weak Velcro and it's fun. I also created some matching cards that go along with that foam honeycomb so your child can try and match up the card with the honeycomb. Have the bees go and collect the different pieces and then switch it around. If you've done all the cards in the kit and you want to make your own, I have that covered too with these tiny little honeycomb cards. Create your own pattern to match up. In any case, the sensory bin is always a hit when I pull it out. My 2-year-old loves it, my 5-year-old loves it, my 8-year-old loves it. It seemed like a great way to round out our letter H play week. If you like this or you're looking for more easy and fun inspiration for letter play, be sure to like and follow along.